Hello everybody, good morning, welcome to the PR Week. We're about to record our podcast. We're a little fragile this morning after the PR Week Awards last night. Cipriani in New York City, great night, 800 people there celebrating the best in PR. And there was some great work on show and a lot of fantastic winners. And a great night was had by all. But onwards and upwards, we've got to record a podcast and get on with our Friday content. So hope you've had a good week. Please do put some comments in the trail to this Facebook Live thing. I better get my act together before we actually start recording. We've got two internal guests this week. The A-Team, Diana Bradley, a senior reporter who covers consumer. Hey Diana, how are you?
I'm okay.
You're looking a lot fresher than I am, to be fair. Yeah. And Frank Washkuch, always on the ball. Yes. Frank, news editor, up and at 'em. How was your awards night?
Good, great.
Yeah, you were on fire as usual. We couldn't find you for the photos as usual.
Yeah.
But, you know...
I don't like having my photo taken.
No, we're starting to get that. So, so there's the book of the night. For those of you who couldn't make it, you can see all the case studies online, and we'll talk about a few of them in the podcast, which we are just about to record. So enjoy the show. Hello and welcome to the PR Week, PR Week's regular weekly roundup of everything that matters in the worlds of PR and communications. My name's Steve Barrett, I'm the editor-in-chief of PR Week, and we're here the morning after, the night before, the morning after the PR Week Awards, feeling a little fragile, if we're honest, in the PR Week towns, but we're up and at them for another day, and we're joined by the A-Team, the PR Week editorial team. Frank Washkuch, our news editor. Morning, Frank.
Good morning.
How are you?
Well, thank you.
Another long day yesterday for you, but
Yes,
you're still up and at 'em, ready to go again.
That's right, waking up early.
Yes, and Diana Bradley, our senior reporter. Welcome back to the podcast, Diana. It's been a while.
Thank you. I was on it a couple weeks ago.
That's true,
Yes.
but you're not on as often as you used to be, and we miss you.
That's true.
We like having you on the podcast, so it's good to get Diana's take on things. And we've got Alison Kansky behind the dials. So, hello, Alison.
Hi, Steve.
Second PR Week Awards for Alison. So yeah, we'll talk about that, and then we'll talk about a couple of big stories this week as well. Chobani, the account moving from Weber to Edelman, interesting. And Edelman, interesting goings on over there. They got rid of 3 practice heads, and they seem to be kind of getting rid of the whole concept of practice heads. So we'll talk about that too, and anything else that catches our attention over the next 15, 20 minutes. So let's get into the awards. It's our big night. It's the Oscars of the PR world, and we had our very own Oscar last night. Oscar Munoz, who's CEO of United Airlines. He's our communicator of the year, and Oscar was at the event with many of his staff. He had some flight attendants, he had some pilots, everyone was in uniform. It was great fun. And Oscar, a real advocate for communications. Great to see a CEO really believing in communications and actually saying that it leads his whole company. And he's had a very storied 18 months since he came in there. It really took over when the airline was flailing, had really poor customer service records, labour problems. The merger with Continental hadn't really worked out or bedded in. And he's turned it around. He's got all those labour deals signed. His staff clearly love him, all his people, and they all talked about how he's such an inspirational leader, and he really is engaging with them, and he really believes in communications. So that was a lot of fun, wasn't it? He's a really impressive guy, I thought.
Yeah, even after having a heart attack and everything.
I forgot to mention that. He had a heart attack and then a heart transplant after just a couple of months in the job, and he looks as fit as a fiddle now. So. It's been a pretty inspirational year, hasn't it? Is it going to make you fly United, Frank?
Well, I was impressed that he brought these stewardesses and pilots with him too.
Yeah, that was great. And he brought them all on stage and made a really inspirational speech. And then he stuck around for most of the show. So thanks to Oscar for coming. It was great to have him there, and great to have a CEO like that. And I think it says a lot about where PR is in the scheme of things these days, that we're not talking about is PR at the table. We're actually talking about PR leading the whole business strategy. And Jim Olsen over there, the Chief Communications Officer, came over from Starbucks, was a key part of the strategy. And we wrote a story, you wrote a story about them hiring a storyteller.
Yeah, and that's like a new thing that seems to be happening more and more, that kind of...
Yeah, that was one of the busiest stories of last year.
Yeah, it
It
was
really
popular.
flew high
Yeah.
in the charts.
Yeah, must be a trend or
Did you see
something.
what I did there, Diana? You didn't, did you?
Yeah, that kind of thing today is going to
That went down as well, about as well as my jokes last night, didn't it? During my intro. But anyway, moving
Your
on.
jokes were fantastic.
Were they?
And Oscar said that you stole his joke that he was
Well,
going to make.
yeah,
so.
my Oscar joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although, to be honest, nobody seemed to be listening when I was up there. It's only when Charlene Wheelers came on our fantastic chair of judges, and you could hear a pin drop. She could command the room. But that's what happens, I guess, when you're an ex-Washington Redskins cheerleader. Used to holding an audience, yeah. So Charlene was telling me all about that. She actually did it at the Super Bowl one year. So that was a great anecdote. And she had her daughter there who's working at Weber Shandwick and doing really well. So, yeah, that was fun. Frank, tell us a bit about the big winners last night.
That's right. Well, so Weber Shandwick won Agency of the Year for the 3rd straight year. They were also the large agency of the year. Carmichael Lynch Relate was the mid-size agency of the year. And Pray Tell was the small agency of the year. So congrats to all of them. The campaign of the year went to McDonald's and Golden for their launch of all-day breakfast. And the outstanding PR professionals of the year for in-house went to Ray Cairns of Bayer, and on the agency side, it went to Leslie Gaines Ross, who is the Chief Reputation Strategist over at Weber. So a big night for Weber and a big night for Golan and McDonald's as well.
It was, yeah. Did any of the campaigns really stood out for you, Diana?
I think that I actually thought that the Golan McDonald's all day breakfast thing, I thought that was fantastic, and that definitely deserved.
And they had an interesting day yesterday. So.
Oh, they did. The timing on that couldn't have been better.
Yeah.
But so we're referring to the tweet that went out from McDonald's corporate account yesterday morning. Thursday morning. Basically saying that Donald Trump is a terrible president.
With small hands.
With small hands. And then it was later deleted, and they said their account was compromised. I got in touch with Golan just to double check if they were the ones that ran their social media, and they said that they aren't. They didn't do it in that particular case, or they don't run it. So, yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if it's in. They said it was compromised, so that could mean hacked. It could mean
a rogue operative.
Yeah, it could be internal. So.
Although Twitter did reach out to them, didn't they, and say, your Twitter account has been compromised, which kind of maybe suggests that it was third-party involvement.
That's true.
But I guess it's something every brand has to be aware of now, and every social media team. And you really have to pay a lot of attention to the security of who can get access to your social media. Because if you think about it, if you have got multiple people with passwords and codes, and maybe those codes get around and other people get hold of them who shouldn't have them, or you just literally get hacked into. You've got to be really cognizant of this and how to keep it secure, and two, what to do if you do get hacked and how to do it quickly. They seem to act pretty quickly.
Yeah, they reacted very quickly.
They were on the ball.
But they were just putting out the same statement over and over. They wouldn't give us any further information. So they're kind of just sticking to that. They're investigating, and it'll be interesting to see.
And actually, the campaign of the year was very Twitter related too, because it was about their all-day breakfast launch of it, and people had been going on about it for a long time. So they literally went back, Golan combed back through the tweets. So they did and did a data analysis of them, and literally engaged every single person who tweeted about it, going back something like 7 years, I think. And it was a really interesting campaign, and sort of points to the future of PR and involvement in using data smartly, basically. But there was, I do genuinely believe the work this year was as a high standard as ever, and the judges certainly said that. And some of the winners, there was the Whirlpool campaign that Ketchum did, was a great one, which is about kids from poorer backgrounds who sometimes haven't got clean clothes and are embarrassed to go to school. So Whirlpool has installed washing machines in 17 schools, and you know, it's led to increased attendance rates amongst pupils, which is fantastic. Another really great piece of work. And there were lots of other fine examples that you can see on our website, PRWeek.com, and it's well worth checking those out. And congratulations to all the winners and the honourable mentions, because it's a tough competition, and in fact all the shortlisted entries too. And thank you for engaging with it. Everyone seemed to have a good night. Any highlights for you, Frank?
I thought Oscar was very good, and I think that he's an interesting business figure and an interesting company right now. So I'm glad that he could make it and he was there. I think it lent something to the award show, for sure.
Definitely. Diana?
I definitely agree with Frank, and
Do you?
the caliber.
That's a first.
Yeah, for once. And you know, like you said, the caliber of the entries, and,
Yep.
and you know, it was high competition. But yeah, everything went smoothly, and I learned some facts about our MC Ralph Harris. Ralph Harris. He was on Seinfeld. He was a sniffling accountant in either season 3 or 5.
Well, there you
So
go.
I'm going to look for that now.
Yeah.
That episode.
Yeah, no, he's done quite a bit of TV.
Yes, yeah, so I hear. So,
We only hire the
but
best.
I had to ask about the Seinfeld, so I looked him up on IMDb.
Did you enjoy DJ Marvelous, Frank?
Sure.
Oh, was that the DJ?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
No, I think the DJ was a bit overshadowed by Ralph,
Yes.
to be sure.
There's some good tunes though he was rocking for the walk-ups.
Yeah, very varied.
Yes.
There was some Michael Jackson.
I even remember, yes, I was going to say there were even two that I actually recognised.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson was one.
Yeah, I
Rick
think
James
that
was the other. Yeah, it was a good night. Good night had by all. Good celebration of the industry, and you know, it's really a lot to build on. Really makes you feel actually optimistic about the profession, because there's some great work there. And you know, the competition was fierce, and actually the prizes were spread around. That was reflected. So Burson Marstella did quite well. They won a couple of awards, you know, a couple of high-profile awards, and Don Baer was the honourable mention in the agency PR Pro of the Year. Ogilvy did pretty well. We've already talked about Ketchum. They are always highly, you know, have a high profile at the awards. Edelman won for REI, which is a fantastic campaign, which did really well at Cannes this year. And Weber, as we said, had a good year, and Conan Wolf won one. So, and then there was some really smart work by some smaller agencies that is well worth checking out too. And so the prizes were shared around, and it was great. It was a really good night. So let's get into a couple of stories this week. Diana, you broke the story about Chobani, the Greek yogurt brand, or yogurt, as I should say, which has switched agencies again. They were with Fleischmann Hillard, then they went to Weber, and now they've gone over to Edelman. Tell us all about it.
Yes, it seems like 4 years is the magic number for them in PR terms. So they've scooped up.
Oh, do you see what she did there, listeners?
Scooped up Edelman as their PR AOR. As of March 1st, they've been working together. And they just said that Michael Gonda, he's the VP of Communications and Public Affairs at Chobani.
Who's actually shortlisted for PR Pro of the Year.
Yes.
Yeah. Did you see him there?
I didn't see him. It was crowded.
It was very
trying to
crowded.
find everybody, but hello, Michael, if you're watching. I'm sorry I missed you. But he said that they've looked to bring even more work in-house across the marketing organization, and made the decision to switch their agency relationship to Edelman. And Weber is the incumbent. They've been Chobani's AOR since September 2013. And he was bigging up the fact that, you know, they're very grateful for the work Weber has done. They helped to launch more product platforms than at any other point in Chobani's history.
Clients always say that, don't they, when they change agencies? It's almost like they have to. But
I don't know. Sometimes they're.
Well,
they're all
good times.
Yeah, sometimes you can read between the lines.
Lots
Yeah.
of good times.
I think they genuinely.
Plenty of
Yeah, I think they were when they. To be honest, I think Fleischmann did some great work with them as well. You know,
Yeah.
so and Weber did too. So yeah, Edelman's got a couple of tough acts to follow there. And,
Yeah. But yeah, Edelman, I should point out that Edelman has the Kellogg's business, and they created a
Conflict
spin-off
shop.
agency,
Yeah.
a conflict shop called CRISPR.
Yeah.
I think back in 2012. So their clients are Special K, Pop-Tarts, Rice Krispies, Morningstar Farms, and Cheez-It brands. So there might be some client conflicts there.
Yeah,
or-
possibly.
Yeah, possibly, but it's
Interesting
just
to
important to
see
know.
how that pans out.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll see what's to come now.
And, yeah, and talking of Edelman, Frank, there was another story about them this week where they've got rid of 3 practice heads,
That's
which
right.
seems to be pointing to a kind of a wider trend over there.
Right,
The
it could be a
biggest PR
strategy
firm.
shift over there because the practice heads for corporate, public affairs, and business and social purposes social purpose have moved on, and they are Kathy Beiser, she was the head of corporate, Stephanie Lvovich, who was the head of public affairs, and Bob Knott, who was the chief of business and social purpose, have all recently left the company. Kathy Beiser is a veteran of Hilton, I should point out.
Hilton, yeah, she's on the client side. She came over from Hilton a couple of years ago. Before that, she was at Discover Financial Services. So, yeah, quite surprising to hear that because that was a very much lauded appointment when Kathy went over to join Edelman. But we wish them luck in their search for new roles, and we'll find out a bit more about what that means for Edelman's future strategy. So, interesting stuff there. All right, anyone else got any final reflections on our awards night? We're all a little bit low energy this morning, aren't we? Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Did you go to any after parties, Diana?
I didn't. I was there until like midnight
Ooh,
at the actual
wow.
event.
You didn't turn into a
Yeah.
pumpkin.
I did. Yeah. No, it was great.
I managed to call into one after party before
Oh, yeah.
on my way home, but which was the party was in full swing, that's for sure. But I eventually made my excuses and went home.
Yes.
Took the prudent route. Frank, you're already tucked up because you've got to be up
Yes.
to do the breakfast briefing,
Yes,
haven't you?
yes.
Each morning?
I went home and watched some basketball and went to bed.
That's true. There was a rumour that some guests were, the odd guest was a little bit more interested in the basketball than actually the proceedings.
Yeah, I've heard that rumor as well, and may have seen it a bit here and there as the night went on.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you both for your efforts last night. It was a great night. Thank you, Alison, as well. You all had a little go on stage and gave out an award, and it's a lot of fun to do that. And yeah, we'll. Congratulations to all our winners. Go to PRWeek.com to check those out. We move on now to our Brand Film Festival on May the 4th, and we've got our Global Awards in London on May the 11th. So check out the shortlist for the Globals, and the judging for the Brand Film Festival is starting next week, so we'll have more information about that. We'll also, another thing to look out for is we're going to launch 40 Under 40 on Monday, I think. So look out for that if you want to submit or someone for that brilliant program. And we've just done our Hall of Fame, which you can read about in our issue, which will be, when's that going to be live online, Frank? It already is, isn't it, for the Hall of Fame honorees, but there'll be